Good day, YouTubers. If you've been following my Land Rover Discovery videos, you'll know that I've had quite a few jobs to do. One of them quite major, and some of them essential, and others not quite essential but still needed doing. So now I'm getting near the end, at least it feels like I'm getting near the end. So I'll come to the next job, which is fitting the clutch master and slave cylinders. So first of all, I'll start by explaining why I feel I need to change the master and slave cylinders. The main problem is that when I push the pedal down, I get to about there, I have this much travel where nothing happens, and then I have it's actually about here. I can feel it when I'm driving with my foot, and then I have that much travel, which is effectively disengaging the clutch. So what this means is the bite point, when you bring the pedal out, appears very quickly, so it's quite jerky when you take off. It also means that when you put it in gear, it can sometimes get so far and you can't get it in, so you have to pump the clutch pedal, which then lets you get the gear in. So to fix it, I shall be replacing the master cylinder, which is this contraption here, and the slave cylinder, which is that right by there. Quite easy to get out from underneath. First thing you need to do is remove this lower fascia panel here, which is easy enough to do, just a little bit fiddly. Best way to do that is to lower the fuse box cover and then reach round inside, where you can just feel the fixings and push the panel either side. That's the theory. Not helped by this big metal bar being in the way. Come on. The one side was really easy. The other side, it's difficult to actually bend your fingers. There we go. Right. And then we have to squeeze the pins together, the clips together, to remove the diagnostic socket. And with that out the way, you can then see what you have to do, which is remove this pin here, which I might be able to do whilst filming, or I might not. So it'd probably be better to do with two hands. But that is the pin at the top of the clutch pedal. So with that removed, it's now just a simple case, so he says, of pulling the pin out. There we go. So you got the natural return spring of the clutch pedal, and that was a large part of the travel, was just the spring, and then the hydraulic system. My assistant Lancer has turned up to give me a hand, or he's just hanging around hoping for something to eat. With that out of the way, before I do anything else, I'm going to drain what I can out of this hydraulic pipe here, which leads down to the slave cylinder. Oh, see you, Lancer, you off. So to do that, I've clamped the feed pipe from the fluid reservoir for obvious reasons. I don't have a pipe clamp, so what I've done is I've got two thin bits of tree wood and some mole grips, and clamped it quite firmly. Right, so I'll remove the hydraulic pipe. 13mm spanner for that, which comes out surprisingly easily. If this was a brake pipe, no fluid coming out at all. That's nice, isn't it? Oh, that's okay. Well, I'm not going to complain about that. Yeah. Okay, so I'll now get underneath. Mind you, I can do one of the bolts for the slave cylinder. One of the bolts from up here, and then I can do the other one from underneath. What size is that? Looks about a 10. So that's what we're looking at. Got the 10 on the top there, and then there's a 10mm on the bottom. If you're fairly new to car mechanicking, car working, you'll find in a short space of time that you will actually get taller or just longer arms. Oh, the amount of times you have to stretch and contort yourself will be surprising. That's one bolt out, so underneath now. Ah, fancy meeting you down here. As you can see, there's more than room enough for both of us. I suppose I could think of worse places to be on a nice sunny day. There we go. A lot easier when you can actually see it in front of you. Making sure you don't get bits in the way. Could this be a new rave tune? And that's the slave cylinder off. Yeah, got it off, and to be honest, it just sort of fell apart. So that could be why. So now we get to taking the master cylinder off. I might have to take the engine cover off, I don't know. Still, it's no big job, is it? Yeah. I like it when hydraulic pipes come out. As I was saying earlier, if it was a brake pipe, you can guarantee it'd be corroded and seized in place. Didn't realise that this is one of these reusable clips. A lot of times they're just clamped up one piece clips, but this actually unhooks, so I can reuse that and get it off the thing, and in theory no fluid will come flying out because I clamped the pipe. To remove I've taken the engine cover off, by the way. Now to remove the bolts that hold the master cylinder to the bulkhead. The phone's ringing. Leave it. I'll tell you, probably about the past 3 years we've never bothered answering the landline now. And we just have it for the internet. For broadband. And the reason being that every single time the phone rings, you can guarantee, beyond doubt, it'll be someone or a recording saying, you know, listen to this important announcement. Yeah, your NatWest account. And I'm not even with NatWest. Or the good old PPI. I often imagine that if well, I don't often imagine it, but I have imagined that if we were to be finally contacted by aliens from another world, the first thing they would say is, have you been missold, PPI? They would. They would, I tell you. And there we are. Right. So, obviously you can never tell with these things just by looking at them. So I'm just going to have to assume that it's one of them. It's having a fit. Right. So without any moment's hesitation, straight back on with fitting the new stuff. Which is a bit of a squeeze. It'd be easier to put it in the socket. Get it started at least. Just do it up. Thank heavens it's Friday, eh? So what will you be doing this weekend? Me? Well, I'm going to Chester, because I've been working away on this car basically non-stop for 3 weeks, plus all my other regular duties. So I really do fancy getting away from it. I go to Chester in the old camper van and stay at Delamere campsite, which is very nice, and it has a train station literally next doors to it, and you can go to Chester or Manchester. So I really do like Chester,
spend the day around there, take some photographs, have a nice huge Starbucks Frappuccino. There's a young lady who has a donut stand. She makes donuts, and I have a bag of those, and I go and sit in the cathedral grounds on a bench and eat me donuts. I probably cut a solitary figure, but I go to towns to get away from it all, believe it or not. Right, that's enough of that. Let's get the pipe back on. Take the protective cap off and screw the pipe on. Being careful not to cross-thread it, and to make sure it's actually started, instead of just turning it away and thinking you're getting there. There we go. Such fine threads on these, it's hard to get it going sometimes, but never be tempted, if it doesn't start turning easily, to force it. Otherwise you'll have to get yourself another new master cylinder. Nice. Get the pipe back on. Like so. Very nice. That's on there good and proper. I'll keep the clamp in place because I haven't got the slave cylinder on yet. But I'm just going to refit the push rod to the pedal. So with the master cylinder now reconnected, it's time to put the new slave cylinder back on. So it's back under the car. Hello again. I'm reporting to you live from under the Rover Discovery. Right. Remembering to put the bleed nipple on top. One bolt. There's the hole. There it is. Can I reach the bolt around the other side? No, I can't. So I need to do this one up as much or near as tight, and then come up the top, put the other one in, tighten that up, and then back under here, and tighten this one up. Then all that remains is to finish screwing up the hydraulic pipe. well, not screwing it up, I don't want to screw it up obviously, I want to tighten it up. It came out by hand, so can it go in by hand? Yes it can. That's as far as it can go by hand. Find it in the dark. You can probably see it better there than I can, because I've got the sun shining right in the side of my eyes. Take that off. Remembering to drop your lumps of wood on the frame. Still, that'll blow away when I'm driving along at incredible speed, thanks to the EGR kit. Yeah, I think I may have slightly overemphasised the performance improvement from the EGR kit. Right, so in theory, fluid will now be slowly seeping into the master cylinder and filling that up. Right, so I have my bleed pipe fitted to the bleed nipple. I've got the bleed nipple finger tight, and a 10mm spanner handy to open the bleed nipple and close it as and when required. Also, you need to ensure you've got a bottle of brake fluid, new or fairly recent, because it's hygroscopic, and it absorbs moisture. So once it's opened, so not stuff that's been sitting around for many years. I've topped it up so it's just slightly above the max mark, which hopefully should be enough when I'm bleeding. Put a rag around, because you don't want to spill brake fluid over the inner wings of your car and so on, because brake fluid is highly corrosive. So all I need now is an assistant. Okay, so with my assistant safely positioned in the driver's seat, I shall begin the bleeding. So I'll be shouting down and then holding it there for a bit till all the air's out, and then up, and we'll keep repeating that until there's no air left in the system. Okay. Right, let's get bleeding. Right, down and up. And down. And up. And down. And up. Right, we're getting there. The pedal's getting better, so a few more and we should be there, I think. Okay, so down and up and down and up. All right, and the result of all of that is I now have a very nice clutch pedal. Look at the travel on that, eh? And I can just stick it straight into gear, whereas before, even reverse, looking at it, see? Whereas before it was very sort of like a notch, and sometimes I'd have to double pump the clutch like that, but that's lovely. One little tip: if you find that you can't get all the air out and you've still got a a fair bit of travel before it does anything, then get your assistant to very quickly pump the clutch pedal 3 times. Just go 1, 2, 3 and hold it down on the 3rd pump, and as she gets to the bottom, or he gets to the bottom of the 3rd pump, open the bleed nipple and you'll see all the air come whizzing out. Close it up, wait about 5 seconds, and then 1, 2, 3, open, all this air comes out, and do that about 3 times and all the air will be out, and then you'll have a nice pedal that's just straight down like that. No more gear change problems. So all I need now is to, final job, do this plate under here. Oh, and change the brake pads. But as is traditional around here at Country House Gent Towers, is once a job is done, you need to test drive it, and that can mean only one thing: coffee. So cheers. Oh, lovely.